Alright, here we go. 11.2 day 1. Knocking out this unit 11 stuff. So now we're moving on from surface area to different shapes here. Now we've got spheres and composite solids. So sphere just has its basic formula. It's just going to be 4 pi r squared. Alright, surface of a hemisphere. So now this looks a little bit different. So some people would say, hey, that's half of a sphere. So if it's half of a sphere, then shouldn't it be 2 pi r squared? And you would be wrong. That is incorrect. Because once you cut this sphere in half, you see we have this area on the top that we can touch. So you have your orange, right? You cut it in half. And there's the inside you can touch. Well, now this is a circle. So I've got to account for this area. So what is the area of a circle? That is a pi r squared. So I've got 2 pi r squared for the rounded portion. Then for the flat portion, I have another pi r squared. So this is really 3 pi r squared. So again, surface area is whatever you can touch on the outside. Alright, so those are the notes. So now we can go from there. So surface area of a sphere or hemisphere. So I've got a sphere. So I've got 4 pi r squared. Now this is telling me my diameter is 8. So this, my radius is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. 64 pi yards squared. Radius is 5. So I've got 3 pi r squared. So then I've got 75 pi feet squared. Again, the 3 comes from, I have one area there, and I have 2 pi r squareds for the rounded portion. Alright, now we're working backwards. So they're going to give us the surface area of a sphere. So then I know that that is 10.25 has to be equal to 4 pi. Oh, and there is a pi in there. So I can divide the pi's off. So I'm going to take my 110.25 and I've got to divide by 4. And then I can take the square root of that answer. So then my r is 5.25. And radius is a straight distance, so then the units on there are going to be feet. You know, come Schoology quiz test, that I love my units, and you know that'll be on there. So make sure you are looking for those ahead of time. Alright, composite solid just means you have more than one figure put together. So this is a hemisphere on top of a cylinder. So if I break this into parts here, alright, so I've got my cylinder, my 2 area of the base, plus perimeter of the base times the height, and then I have my hemisphere. And yes, I did write hemisphere as 3 pi r squared up there, but the bottom of my hemisphere now is on the interior of the object, so it doesn't count. So I just have the 2 pi r squared for my top of my dome there. Alright, so it looks like 12 is my diameter, so that means my r is 6. 13 here is my capital H for my height. And let's see if we can put this all together here. So if I go surface area, this is going to be for my total when I get my 2 pieces together. So for my cylinder area of the base, I'm going to have my 2. I'm going to have my pi r squared, so then I got 36. Plus perimeter of the base would be my circumference, so 2 pi, then my r is 6 again, times my h of 13, and then 36 times 2 is 72, so I know this is 72 pi, so I'll put that on one of the lines here. Alright, so this guy is done. So if I continue here, so the 2 times 36 is 72 pi. And then let's see, I've got, how can I do this quickly? 6 times 13, 1878. 78 times 2, 78, 16, carry the 1, 156. 156, so that's an 8. There's my 12, 12, carry the 1, 228 pi. So my 2 and my 0, 1, carry the 1, 300 pi inches squared. Just pausing that there in case you need to pause the video to double check my work. I feel pretty good. Getting ready. That's it. Damn, look at that. 5 minutes.